Hello Internet, it's Mike White with 143. So today I'm going to talk about fonts, and I'm going to talk about fonts in SVGs. So SVGs can do text, and you can lay out text in an SVG. This is Inkscape that I'm in, and you can use any application like Adobe Illustrator. You can use StarCraft Create. You can use Shortcuts a lot. There's so many applications out there where you can make SVGs. But when you send those SVGs in and you want them printed as a DTF, you are going to have some problems unless you convert your text to paths. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about using fonts. I have just downloaded some fonts. I downloaded them from DaFont, which is a very popular program or a popular website. And I've just installed the fonts. And then I've opened them up in Inkscape and laid out this little snarky Western design. So what's the problem? Well, I have the fonts installed. I've typed my text. And you'd think I could just come up here and do File, Save, and then submit this SVG to the 143 Layout Designer. So I've popped over there, I'm choosing my image, and I'm uploading, and I see a problem. Now I just installed these fonts, so my browser has been open since the fonts were installed. Let's look at what happens when I restart my browser. So now I've closed all instances of my browser. And I'm going back to the Layout Designer, and I'm going to choose an image. Oh, look, now my SVG looks correct. And everything seems fine, and I can just size it up, put it at 0, 0, and I'll make it 10 inches, and I should be ready to save my project and submit. But here's what happens. When I save this and I submit my order, on the other side, when 143 goes to print this order, their browser, it doesn't have the fonts. So 143 uses a sophisticated back end to print. And so what the font's going to look like to them is the same as it looked like when I loaded it up. So here's what I need to do to fix it. I need to come into my program, and I can select the text tool. And when you select the text tool in Inkscape, usually it has the text at the top. You can see what the text is. And that's how you can tell that these are still editable, is because if you can type, then it's editable, okay? And if you want to check and see if it's a path, you can actually select your node tool and then click on an object. And if the nodes don't light up, then it is still a text object. So that's two ways to check. If you need to change a font, you can actually open up your layers panel. Let's see, it's under text, text and font. And that'll open up and you can see what the font is over here in this panel. And another tool you have is you can go to your layers panel and actually see these little T's. This is in a pretty recent version of Inkscape. I'm using version, looks like 1.3. And you can actually see the little T next to each one. Okay, so how do we fix it? We don't know that 143 will have the font or whoever you're submitting your DTF transfer to. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go to Path, and we're just going to do Object to Path. And when you do that, you'll notice that the icon changes over here. And on this text right here, I can now click with my node tool and see the actual nodes that make up the font. So now it's a path. Another quick way to do it is on your keyboard is just do Control K. And Control K, I believe that is the combine tool for paths. So that's how you can combine several paths into one. And it's just the shortcut that I use to make the stroke or the object go to path. It looks like Shift Control C is the actual correct one. So I'm just going to hit Control K on this one as well. And then I can check with my node tool. I've got nodes, their paths. And now if I save, and I go up and I actually can uninstall these fonts just so I can simulate what it's like on the other side. Here I am deleting the fonts. And I've actually saved 2 copies. I have one with the text object and one that's got the paths. So let's look at what happens. And this will simulate what happens on the 143 side. If I choose this and open up the text one, I don't get my gorgeous snarky design. I get this because the system no longer has that font. But the one that we converted to paths is all of its Western glory. Hey, I hope that helps, and I went slow enough to explain everything this time. Y'all take care out there and have fun.